I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this webinar today. I believe this may be 30 of the most life-changing minutes you will ever spend. I'm going to teach you about a little-known fact, and that is college tuition is completely negotiable. Why is this a little-known fact? Because college is a business and they want to make money. If everyone knew this, they wouldn't be able to keep skyrocketing their prices and keep getting away with it. Most people believe the sticker price is what they have to pay, but that isn't true at all. It's kind of like buying a car. Most of you know car sticker prices are negotiable, but you do need to have good credit and verifiable income to be able to negotiate. If you have bad credit and no income, you won't be able to do much bartering unless you're paying with cash. It is the same with college tuition. If the student has good grades and good test scores and the parents have done all their due diligence, they may be able to save tens of thousands of dollars in tuition or more. There are things you can do to position yourself correctly to be able to take full advantage of these things, but most of this information is not readily available to the public. There is a company who has been helping families with this process for 24 years and as a result are considered the experts in the industry. They are College Funding Solutions. Before we get into a lot of the details, let me give you a brief background about myself and why I'm so excited to help families address the challenge of paying for their child's education. Hi, my name is Sonia Beakley, and this is my daughter, Alexandra. And she is a sophomore here at Alta High School, right here in Utah. And we are about ready to get her started on her College Funding Solutions. It's time.
Yes, you've been promising that for months.
I know. Well, they're really hard to come by. We only have 3 spots available right now. So if I give her one, then I've only got 2 for the next month. So if you guys are excited about what you see with this, then you need to speak up and grab one because they're going to be gone. So see you on the other side. Thanks. My name is Sonia Beakley, and I'm a certified college advisor. I've been in the financial services industry for 6 years after spending 17 years in the mortgage industry. In that time, I have seen firsthand the biggest challenge most families face financially is paying for their child's education without sacrificing their retirement. I hope the information I share with you will help you see there are many ways to reduce your out-of-pocket costs for your child's education. At this time, I'd like to ask for your full attention and please for you to turn off your cell phone and your Facebook. I know your time is valuable, as is mine. Your time spent watching this may end up being some of the most valuable time you have ever spent. Starting early is one of the biggest keys to success when it comes to preparing and paying for college. If you're a freshman or a sophomore, you're just in time. If you're a junior or a senior, you're already behind. Either way, it's imperative you don't allow any more time to pass you by. I'm going to go over some of the strategies and procedures that we've been using for over 20 years to help families and students like yourselves prepare and pay for college. We'll cover who gets the most money for college and why, how to turn the process in your favor, and cover some information that is not readily available to the public. During the next 30 minutes, I am going to give you a bunch of free information that you can use to help yourself and your family greatly reduce the amount of out-of-pocket money you will pay for your child's college education. I'm also going to show you how partnering with experts like College Funding Solutions can save you even more. I'm not talking about a one-time little $500 or $1,000 scholarship. I am talking about potentially tens of thousands of dollars in grant money that doesn't have to be repaid. We want to make sure you understand this is not a promise or a guarantee. You have to give us something to work with. For example, if your student gets bad grades, we can't do much to help them. For those who qualify, this can be life-changing, so get your pens and notepads ready. I've got tons of information for you. According to the Department of Education, over half of the students who start college drop out. The 3 biggest reasons students are forced to drop out of college are changing majors, changing schools, and lack of funds. If they stay in school, it usually costs around 20 grand to change schools and or change majors. If they drop out, that's a lot of wasted money. Nobody wants to watch money go down the drain, yet over 50% of people do it. So how do we avoid this? This webinar is going to give you a lot of free info and things you can implement for yourself. However, this piece of info I'm about to show you may be critical to your student finishing college and doing so without spending any extra money. It is an integral part of our program. The software package that we use to provide these resources is recognized as the leading career planning and college selection software in the country. The software asks hundreds of comprehensive questions, giving us the details that allows the software to create a profile of the student showing the following: what your interests are, what your abilities are, and what your values are. This process helps the student and parent think of ideas for potential fields of study that they may not have thought of before. Once you identify those interests, abilities, and values, you'll have a better chance of finding majors and career paths that will be a better fit. We don't have a crystal ball, but if nothing else, you can eliminate a lot of career paths that would not be a good fit. Remember, you can change your mind about your major while you're in high school and it's free, but once you start college, it isn't free anymore. Once you have a field of study in mind, then the college search and selection process begins. With over 3,200 accredited colleges in the country, we would help you sift through and find the right fit. There are a lot of factors that go into picking the right schools. Obviously, your field of study is one. Do you want a big school or a small school? Would you prefer to be closer to home or further away? And how about the student to professor ratio? What if you had a freshman level psychology class with over 300 students in it and you couldn't even see the professor? Would you be okay with that? These are things you really need to think about. Careful thought and planning ahead can help avoid changing schools and changing majors. Okay, note takers, get ready. We're going to talk about the 3 things that college is. First of all, it's essential, it's also expensive, and it is a business. The first thing is that a college education in today's economy is essential. You basically have to have one to compete in the workplace. Now, I know there's a lot of jobs out there that do not require a college degree, but typically they do not pay as well as the ones that do. If you ever want to be promoted or you want to move up the ladder, then you must have that degree. I have people tell me all the time they have more on-the-job training and more experience than other people, but they've been passed over for a promotion because they don't have a college degree. The Census Bureau statistics show that a college graduate will earn twice as much over their lifetime as a student with only a high school diploma. In addition, a student graduating from a Tier 1 college will earn almost 8 times as much on average as a student with only a high school diploma. The next thing you need to understand is that college is expensive. You obviously all realize that, or you wouldn't be watching this right now. Here are some of the colleges and universities in my area. I've listed some of both of their in-state and out-of-state tuitions. Some of them were a little hard to find. As you can see, the tuition has definitely skyrocketed over the last few years. Look at some of those Ivy League schools. Harvard is almost $83,000 per year. One of the things I'm going to show you today is that you shouldn't let the price tag scare you. Many of the students who have worked with College Funding Solutions have been able to attend these schools for the same price they would normally pay to go to a state school. So just keep watching and I will show you how we do it. The third thing you need to understand is that college is a business, a huge business. Okay, let's talk a little bit about endowments. Endowments are donations given to colleges or universities. Here is the online definition. Right now, there are just over 60 colleges with endowment funds over $1 billion. That's a billion with a B. There are over 300 schools who have endowment funds over 100 million. I'm not here to make the colleges sound like the bad guys. They aren't the bad guys, but they aren't your friend either. They are in business. Their goal is to attract the students that would be the best fit for their community and get mom and dad to pay as much of the bill as possible and still get the student to attend. You need to understand that when colleges award funding to a student, they don't look at it as a handout. They look at it as an investment. Those who get the funding awarded to them are those who make themselves the most attractive in the form of good grades, test scores, and extracurricular activities. But those who get the most funding are those who know how to ask for it. So now let's talk about some of the strategies and some of the steps involved to try and get more money from the college or university that you want to attend. Some of you may have the talent and desire to go to a Tier 1 school like Duke, Stanford, or Yale University. These schools are going to run anywhere between $50,000 and $85,000 per year. Don't let the big price tag scare you. If you know how to navigate the process, or if you have someone helping you who knows the system, then many times you can go to one of these types of schools if you can get in for about the same out-of-pocket money that you can go to a local state school. I know that may not make a lot of sense to you because one costs between $20,000 and $30,000 and one costs between $50,000 and $85,000, but those are just the sticker prices. The sticker price often has very little to do with what you actually spend out of pocket. You want to compare apples to apples. We kind of compare it to buying a new car. How many of you pay sticker price for a new car? It's the same thing with a college education. You don't have to pay sticker price. Not everyone should go to an Ivy League school, just don't let the price tag scare you away. So now you're probably wondering, where is all this free stuff I promised, right? Now that I have laid the groundwork and shown you that college tuition is totally negotiable, I'm now going to show you some things you can do to take advantage of that. Okay, here's golden nugget number 1. When applying to schools, never ever let your top picks know they are your top picks. How? Apply to more than 6 schools even though you don't want to go to those 6 schools. Why? Every school knows about every other school you have applied to. It's all about competition. If you only apply to 1 or 2 schools, they will know you really want to go to their school and won't give you much in the way of grant money. Some schools approve 6 times more freshmen than they know will actually attend. If the financial aid office at a school knows you're only applying to their school, what motivation do they have to give you any funding? They know you're coming one way or the other, and that will affect your offer of funding. One of the things College Funding Solutions does is to look at the conversion rate. That is the number of students who were offered admission that actually attend. We look at this because it will give us an idea of how tough the school will be to negotiate with when it comes time to appeal your offer. College Funding Solutions does all of the research on every school, and they know exactly how many freshmen each school selected the prior year. This information is not readily available to the public. College Funding Solutions pays handsomely to acquire it. With the free tips I give you here, you can definitely do this on your own, but if you enlist the help of College Funding Solutions, your savings could be exponentially higher because of this one little bit of knowledge they pay to acquire. The earlier you start, the earlier you can determine your field of study and the schools that would be the best fit. Through our services, you'll receive access to the nation's premier college and selection software to help you navigate the colleges that are out there and match up with the ones that offer the best funding packages. As you can see, effective career planning and college search and selection strategies are keys to success when it comes to getting the best education at the best price. The students who start early on their career planning and college selection will almost always make better decisions than students who try to cram it into their senior year. Students who start the process earlier have the best advantage. With our system, you'll have access to one of the nation's premier PSAT, SAT, and ACT test prep courses. It's called Naviance. It retails for $1,200 and is included in our program. Naviance offers the student much more than high school test prep programs. It allows the student to take the test over and over, each time recreating a new test, focusing on the weaknesses, making them strengths. The students who work with us end up increasing their test scores by an average of 200 points. This results in an average increase of $5,000 per year in grant money. Okay, we've talked about some steps to help avoid changing majors and changing schools. Now let's talk about the funding. You'll see as we go through this that they're really all related. Now you need to understand the 3 different sources of funding. They are government, college and university, and private sector. From these 3 sources, there are 2 types of funding: gift aid and self-help aid. Gift aid is any money that doesn't have to be worked for or repaid. It can be called a scholarship, an endowment, grant, tuition waiver, tuition reduction, etc. The bottom line is that it is a discount off the sticker price of the school. A student can receive gift aid that is need-based, that it is given because of a demonstrated financial need, or it can be merit-based, which means it is given due to achievements, talents, and merit of the student. Self-help aid is money that is either worked for, like a work-study program, or has to be repaid, like a student or parent loan. Let's talk about some of the strategies and pitfalls to be aware of to help maximize the amount of gift aid you receive from each source. I want to dispel one myth you might be thinking right now. You don't have to be low income to receive grant money. Now, students and parents, before you are eligible for any need-based funding from the government or from colleges, you have to fill out a form called the FAFSA. The FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid, and everyone must fill it out. Here's golden nugget number 2. Filing the FAFSA used to start on January 1st of the student's senior year. Now it begins on October 1st of the student's senior year. The earlier you file, the more chance you have of getting grant money. You can take advantage of this because it's little known information and it will allow you to get ahead in line of some other people that may not know this rule has changed. The Department of Education estimates 75% of submitted FAFSAs contain errors. Those errors can sometimes cost families thousands of dollars and miss financial aid eligibility. So knowing how to complete these forms and complete them correctly is very important. Here's a little insight into where the FAFSA goes after you file it. It is easy to see how one tiny little mistake could stop this form in its tracks and also stop any financial aid you might have gotten. This form is from the U.S. Department of Education Financial Assistance Programs. This is actually the simplified view. I would hate to see the complicated view. When something is difficult, what do we humans do? We wait until the last possible minute to do it, right? Why else would the post office be open until midnight on April 15th? If you want to get your hands on some of that grant money, you've got to file your FAFSA on time and correctly. For the families we assist, we give them a line-by-line answer sheet for their FAFSA. There are 3 chief reasons we do this. The first is accuracy. With our line-by-line answer sheet, you know it will be done correctly the first time. This eliminates a lot of stress from the family. Number 2 is deadlines. The earliest time you can file the FAFSA is the first business day in October of the senior year. Oftentimes the deadlines are as late as March, April, or May, depending on the state you live in. So if you're like most families, when do you think they file their FAFSA? Typically 2 to 3 days before the deadline, just like the tax return. If you're working with us and we have all the needed information from you, we will make sure to get your answer sheet to you in early October so that you can file and be at the front of the line. That is definitely going to give you an advantage because financial aid is first come, first served. So the sooner you get that in and the earlier you get in line, the more money you get, all things being equal. That is very important. The third reason we assist families with the FAFSA and any other institutional financial aid forms that may be required is because there are some techniques and strategies behind those forms that can really impact your financial aid eligibility. Knowing how the formulas work and knowing the importance of things like your asset protection allowance, the importance of the base year, and the differences between the federal and institutional formulas can have a huge impact on your financial aid eligibility. I don't know about you, but my brain is exploding. I am so glad we have college funding solutions to help our family. Once your FAFSA has been filed, the family is sent a student aid report. There are a couple of key parts of information on this, and one of them is the EFC. EFC stands for Expected Family Contribution, and since it's called Expected Family Contribution, you would think that is the amount of money you're expected to contribute, but it's not. It's part of a bigger formula. Right on the government's website where you file the FAFSA, it tells you that the EFC is an index that colleges use to determine eligibility for funding. The colleges take their cost of attendance and subtract your EFC to determine the student's financial need. Then each college meets a different percentage of the need and awards a different percentage of that gift aid depending on their endowment fund. What is this, some sort of sneaky car math? So the lower your EFC is, the higher your need is, and therefore the higher your eligibility for funding. This is one of the reasons we often see students attend a private college with a higher sticker price for the same or less money than a state school. Since the cost of attendance is higher and the EFC remains the same, the need is higher. In addition, the private schools often meet a higher percentage of need and award a higher percentage of gift aid than the public schools. By working with us, we'll educate you on any opportunities you have to reduce your expected family contribution. There are dozens of strategies behind the formulas that can have an impact on your EFC. Once your FAFSA has been filed and your SAR is received, you will start getting offer letters from the schools to which you have applied. If you are doing this on your own, you will not know if they are good offers or bad offers. If you're working with CFS, they will evaluate the offers and let you know if the offers are good or not. If they are not good offers, they will help you appeal them. Let's take a look at some real offers. This one is from Arizona State. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. The cost of attendance is just under $35,000. The target is just under $8,200, but the award is actually $14,550. That's almost $6,400 over the target. This is a prime example of what CFS has done for people. By the way, this is a yearly amount, not just a one-time amount. Here's another one from University of Portland. The expected family contribution is low. Their target was $22,585, and their actual yearly gift aid ended up being $27,565, which is a yearly amount of $4,980 more than they thought. Here's Vanguard. Again, we see a low EFC, and the actual yearly gift aid was $24,508, which is $9,500 more than targeted. Now let's imagine you were doing this by yourself. If you got an offer of just $5,000 per year in gift aid, would you know what to do? Most people would be happy to get anything at all. In this case, CFS would know that $5,000 per year is not enough for this particular student and would appeal the offer targeting the $14,954. But this case ended with $9,500 more than expected because the family did their due diligence and preparation and also utilized college funding solutions to help them. That total is $38,216 in additional gift funds for a 4-year period. Can we promise this to everyone? No, we can't. We can assure you that with proper preparation during the early high school years, your students' good grades, and working with college funding solutions, you will get the best offers possible for your situation. Here's the last example, one from Florida Southern College, and this family has a high EFC. Here is proof that you don't have to be low income to receive grant money. Their target was actually 0 because of their EFC, but they still received $15,500 in yearly grant money. That's a total of $62,000 in grant money over 4 years. The final source for money is the private sector. The good news about the private sector is it's all free money. They typically don't give loans in the private sector, but the bad news is they only account for about 3% of all the funding awarded annually. We don't think it makes sense spending 80% of your time going after 3% of the money, so we want you to work the private sector smarter, not harder. The other piece of bad news about private sector scholarships is that the school will often deduct that scholarship from gift aid they have already offered the student. When that happens to one of our clients, we go back and help the family appeal that decision. Okay, let's do a quick recap. What have you learned so far that can help you and your family reduce the amount of out-of-pocket costs for college tuition? First, the whole reason that brings you here, learning that college tuition is totally negotiable, but we will come back to that in a minute. Second, 55% of college students drop out, wasting lots of time and money. This can be avoided with the help from CFS software that helps target abilities and interests and eventually fields of study, and then matches students up with potential schools that offer the best quality education in those fields at the best price. We also offer our students the best PSAT, SAT, and ACT study course, Naviance, which helps increase their test scores, resulting in more grant money. All of this results in 85% of our students graduating. There are many things that increase your chances of getting grant money. The earlier you start, the better chances you have. Starting as a freshman or a sophomore gives you the best chances. You can still do a lot if you start as a junior, but if you wait and try to cram everything into your senior year, That makes it pretty hard to go back and fix things if you haven't done them correctly. If you apply to 6 or more schools, you increase your chances of getting more grant money because those schools will all know they are competing for your money, now for your tuition and in the future for your donations. Filing the FAFSA early and correctly is extremely important because grant money is first come, first served. If your FAFSA is filed on time, but incorrectly, it can be as bad as filing it at the last minute. Once you start receiving offers, will you know how to field those offers if you were doing it on your own? Will you know if those offers are good enough for your situation? If we are working with you, when evaluating the offer, we will need to compare it to what the school has done in the past for other students in a similar financial situation with similar academic credentials. You can't compare one school to another because they have different amounts of endowments. You have to compare a school to itself. That type of information isn't just floating around on the internet. We spend thousands of dollars each year updating our software and data to be able to provide that information to our clients. That helps us be much more effective when we assist the family in appealing the offer. Now, if we don't do the work leading up to the appeal likely won't be effective. That would be like putting new shingles on a rundown house. But if the students have put in the effort and we've been on track and navigated the process, the chances of getting more money on the appeal are very high. This brings me back to the fact that college tuition is completely negotiable and College Funding Solutions are the expert that can help you get the best education for the best price. I hope I didn't overwhelm you with information. As you can see, college planning is a highly sequential process, and steps taken early can have a huge impact on the family's success. The good news is the strategies we've discussed tonight and the other techniques we use with our clients have helped thousands of families significantly reduce their out-of-pocket costs. I know I've just thrown a ton of information at you, and you probably are asking the one question, if we want your help, how much does it cost? I know that's what I would be asking if I were in your shoes. First, I want to make sure you understand everything that you would be getting with your College Funding Solution license. One of the first things you want to do is the extensive questionnaire. It asks hundreds of questions to find your interests, abilities, and values. Then you work with a counselor, and you're actually assigned 2, so there's always one available, and they help you determine possible fields of study, and then from there, possible schools with the best funding packages. If that's the only thing that College Funding Solutions did for you, what would be the value? Most people say it's an average of $20,000 if it keeps them from changing majors and changing schools and dropping out altogether. For this to make sense for you, you'd have to decide what it is worth to you. If this is all College Funding Solutions did for you, what would it be worth? 55% of people drop out of college, and without this software, you may still be able to be part of the 45% that graduates anyway. So the fact that the software helps people zero in on their strengths, weaknesses, abilities, and interests, which then helps them pick the right field and the right major for them, and helps them avoid dropping out, it may not help you avoid dropping out or even changing schools and changing majors. Changing majors and changing schools costs an average of $20,000. But what if you already know your major and CFS just helped you pick the best school with the best funding package and as a result saved you $20,000? That would only be $5,000 per year and would be very feasible. I wish I would have had a study course to help me with the ACT in high school. Most high schools do now, but none of them come close to Naviance. This program allows unlimited test taking, and each time the student takes it, the test refocuses on their weaknesses. So if the student keeps taking it, their weaknesses will become their strengths. The average score increases by 200 points, resulting in an average increase of $5,000 per year in grant money for a total of $20,000 over a 4-year period. The retail price of Naviance is $1,200, but for most people that really use the test taking to their utmost, they benefit more closely to the $5,000 per year in extra grant money because of their higher test scores. If the only thing CFS did for you was increase your scores by 200 points, resulting in saving you $5,000 per year in tuition, what would that be worth to you? Here is a customer testimonial letter written to the founder of CFS stating that financially it would have been prohibitive for them to attend the college of their choice, and the cost to benefit was substantial. If the returns had been the same on their investments, they would have been able to pay cash for a luxury car. Here's another testimonial, and this person feels that having someone who knows how to do the paperwork correctly is invaluable. That is the perfect segue into filing the FAFSA. The FAFSA has proven itself to be a very difficult document to fill out correctly, and human nature is to procrastinate or avoid doing things that are difficult. If you wait to file the FAFSA until the last minute, you will miss out on getting any extra grant money because it is first come, first served. If you file the FAFSA early but incorrectly, it will get bogged down in the system and any chances of getting extra grant money will be reduced. However, CFS clients get their FAFSAs filed early and correctly, ensuring them to be frontline for any grant money. As a national average, parents and students will fill out between 5 and 9 forms for financial aid, spending anywhere from 15 to 20 hours processing them and sometimes paying CPAs $100+ an hour to help them, and still 75% are completed with errors. Okay, so we have the software that helps focus and avoid dropping out. We have the Naviance test prep that helps raise scores by an average of 200 points and helps increase grant money. And now we have help with the FAFSA and other forms that will be filed correctly and on time. If the FAFSA help was the only thing you got out of working with CFS, what would that be worth to you? Some say this third part is invaluable. Finally, College Funding Solutions helps in evaluating offers. Clients of CFS already know what to expect on their offers because so much research has already been done on the schools, and that is combined with the detailed information of the client. CFS helps make sure the client is presented in the best light possible. We help prepare and educate the client on things like asset protection allowance and the base year. It is just like a lawyer presenting a case to the judge and jury. CFS must make sure the asset protection allowance has been maxed and as much is done before the base year as possible. When the offers come in, CFS knows if they're good offers or not, and when and how to appeal those offers. This is also invaluable to the client. This could mean countless thousands of dollars in extra grant money per year. Prior to seeing this webinar, some people think they can do this all on their own. You can definitely get some grant money on your own, but the truth is you don't have the same access to the information on each school's history and endowment fund amounts. Therefore, you won't have any idea if the offers they give you are their best offers. Since College Funding Solutions has been doing this for 24 years, and this is all they do, they have more expertise and can achieve much better results than an individual trying to do it on their own. If getting CFS's help in evaluating and appealing offers was the only thing you got out of working with them, what would it be worth to you? Every situation is different and we can't guarantee anything because a lot of the weight rests on the student's shoulders. Most people say this part is worth at least $500 to $1,000 per year, and some say they have benefited as much as $50,000 per year. It depends on the student, the school, and the family situation. So what do you think the total value would be for you? Most can say at least $20,000 worth of value, and some can say that in every category. Everyone is different. Let's say you were at the low end and just got a total of $20,000 for all categories put together. So then what do you think the cost should be? Since everyone is different and not everyone can get the same amount of value, we didn't think we should charge $20,000, even though some can get as much as $200,000 worth of value out of it. So what if we cut it in half? Would it be worth $10,000 if almost everyone could at least get $20,000 in value? Absolutely. But again, we don't charge $10,000 for it. Okay, so what if we cut it in half again? Surely we should be able to charge $5,000 and everyone would be able to get huge benefit out of it, right? Positively. But we realize that most of you are stressed about money right now when you're looking at potentially spending more on your child's education than you did for your house. So how about cutting that in half again? $2,500? That seems a very fair price to pay to receive at least 8 to 9 times that in return, and some of you may even receive 80 times that in return. But College Funding Solutions wants to make sure they can help as many people as possible reduce their out-of-pocket costs for their child's education. So the price isn't even as much as the Naviance software that is included. It's not even $1,200. It's only $950. Because of this, we have limited spots available. CFS will only take on as many families as they can serve and serve well. So if you are seeing this webinar, I currently only have 2 licenses available and I don't know when I will get more. So if you see this, tremendous value, and you can see it benefiting your family, you had better grab it now. Okay, so that was exciting. They've seen all the tips and tricks and all the wonderful things that College Funding Solutions does. And so now I think you should grab one of those spots, right?
Yeah, I get one.
I know. I've got 2 left.